Before I was a grandfather, I was a structural engineer for 34 years. I built bridges that needed to hold thousands of tons of weight without cracking. I knew how to calculate stress points. I knew how to identify where something was about to break before anyone else could see it. My son never quite understood that about me. He thought I was just his quiet, retired father who watched baseball and tended his tomato garden in Boise. He forgot that the sane mind that designed load-bearing structures could also read a situation and know exactly when and where to apply pressure. He found out the hard way. My daughter-in-law's name is Renata. She's the kind of woman who says all the right things in front of company and saves the wrong things for when nobody's watching. I noticed it early, about 6 months after my son Marcus brought her home, the way she'd smile at me during Sunday dinners, and then, just slightly, look away when my granddaughter Lily walked into the room. Lily is 9. She came to us from foster care 4 years ago, before Marcus and Renata had their biological son Owen, who just turned 6. When Lily first arrived, she was quiet in the way that kids are quiet, when they've learned that making noise gets them in trouble. It took her almost a year before she'd ask for a second helping at dinner without checking someone's face first. I loved that little girl from the moment I saw her. My late wife Dorothy would have too. Dorothy passed 3 years ago, breast cancer, and there are days I still reach for the phone to call her before I remember. She always said Lily had her grandmother's eyes. Green, a little too serious for a child, watching everything. I watched too, and what I saw over the past year made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Little things at first. Owen getting a new bike for his birthday, while Lily got a craft kit that was clearly on clearance. The price sticker had been peeled off, but the outline of it was still there. Renata signing Owen up for soccer and swim lessons while telling Lily that activities were too expensive right now. Marcus going along with all of it because Marcus has always found it easier to agree than to look closely at something uncomfortable. I told myself, families are complicated. I told myself Lily seemed okay. She still ran to hug me when I came over on Sundays. She still saved me the last dinner roll because she knew I liked them. Then came March. Marcus called me to let me know they were taking a family trip to Hawaii for spring break. 14 days, all-inclusive resort on Maui. He mentioned the cost almost proudly, somewhere around $18,000 for flights, resort, excursions, the works. "Are you taking Lily?" I asked. There was a pause that lasted just a half-second too long. "She has that spring reading program at school," Marcus said. "You know how she is with reading. We didn't want her to miss it." "Marcus, the school program runs 2 hours a week. It's optional." Another pause. Renata thinks the trip would be too much for her. Owen gets overwhelmed too, and Lily doesn't always handle new environments well. I didn't push it on the phone. I knew better. But I felt the weight of what he'd just said settling into my chest like wet concrete. I called Lily the next day on the tablet Marcus had set up for her, the one she used to video call me on Sunday mornings. She was at school. I left her a message saying I'd call again Sunday. Sunday came and went. No call from Lily. I tried the tablet twice. No answer. I called Marcus. He said Lily was at a friend's house. I thought nothing of it. They left for Hawaii on a Thursday morning. I know because Marcus posted a photo on Facebook. Owen in a little lie at the airport, grinning, Renata in sunglasses. The caption said, "Family adventure begins." I stared at that photo for a long time. That Saturday night, around 9:30, my cell phone rang. It was an Idaho number I didn't recognize. "Grandpa?" The voice was small. Shaky. "Lily? Baby, is that you? Whose phone is this?" "My neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski." I knocked on her door. A pause. I didn't know who else to call. I sat up straight. Every nerve in my body went on alert. "Where are you right now?" "At home." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They left me here, Grandpa." They said Mrs. Burt Kowalski was going to check on me, but she didn't know about it. She came over when she saw the lights off, and I was scared. How long have the lights been off? Since yesterday. I think they forgot to pay. I don't know, she sniffled. There's food in the freezer, but the microwave's not working because the electricity, and I can't find the flashlights. I was already standing, already looking for my keys. Lily, I need you to stay with Mrs. Kowalski tonight. Can you ask her if that's okay? I heard her relay the question. A warm woman's voice in the background said, Of course. Come right in, dear. She said yes. Good girl. I'm coming. It's 6 hours, but I'm coming tonight, okay? You sleep at Mrs. Kowalski's. I'll be there in the morning. Okay. Another sniffle. Then, very quietly, I thought maybe they just forgot about me. I had to close my eyes for a second. They made a mistake, I said, because she was 9 years old and she did not need the truth yet. I'm coming. I drove through the night. I'm 67 years old and I haven't done a 6-hour drive straight through in probably 15 years. But I drank 2 coffees at a gas station outside Twin Falls and I kept going. I thought about Lily sitting in that dark house. I thought about her knocking on a neighbor's door at night because there was nobody else. I thought about my son, who I raised to know better. I arrived at Marcus's neighborhood just after 5 in the morning. Mrs. Mum Kowalski, a sturdy woman in her 70s with a grey braid and reading glasses on a chain, opened the door before I could knock twice. She had clearly been awake. You must be the grandfather, she said. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking her in. The child had half a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter, she said, keeping her voice low. The power had been out since Friday. She told me she'd been sleeping with all her stuffed animals piled on top of her because she was cold. She looked at me steadily. I've already taken photos of the inside of that house. I thought someone might want them. I looked at her for a moment. You're a smart woman, Mrs. Kowalski. I raised 4 kids and I know when something's not right. Lily was asleep on the couch under a quilt. I sat in the chair across from her and watched her breathe until the sun started coming up through the blinds. When she woke up and saw me, she didn't say anything. She just climbed off the couch and came and put her arms around my neck, and I held her and didn't say anything either. After a while, she pulled back and looked at me. Are you going to call Dad? Yes, I said, but not yet. First, I called the power company. The account was in Marcus's name and they wouldn't give me information, but they confirmed a service disconnection for non-payment and said it could be restored with a deposit. I paid it over the phone right there. $412 on my credit card. I didn't care. Then I drove Lily to IHOP because she said she wanted pancakes, and I would have driven her to Paris for pancakes at that moment. We sat in a booth by the window, and she had a short stack with strawberries, and I had coffee. And we talked about her school project on the Oregon Trail, and her class hamster named Pretzel, and the book she was reading about a girl who raises a wolf pup. She didn't talk about Hawaii. She didn't mention Owen. She was careful the way she always was, testing the ground before she put weight on it. I waited until she was settled before I drove her back to Marcus's house, got the power restored, and started making calls. First call, my attorney, a woman named Frances who has handled my affairs since Dorothy's estate. I told her what happened. She listened without interrupting and then said, document everything. Photos, the power bill, the neighbor's testimony, whatever Lily says to you voluntarily. Don't coach her, and call Child Protective Services. Second call, CPS. I gave them the address, explained the situation, and they told me a caseworker would follow up. I gave them Mrs. Kowalski's number as a witness. Third call, Marcus. He answered on the second ring, relaxed, island vacation voice. Hey, Dad, what's up? I'm at your house, I said. I'm with Lily. Silence. She called me Saturday night from your neighbor's phone, I said. The power had been out for over 24 hours. She'd been alone since Thursday. She was cold and scared, and she had bread and peanut butter. Dad, We had an arrangement with Mrs. Kowalski. Mrs. Kowalski knew nothing about any arrangement. She took Lily in because she saw the lights were out and a child was alone in a dark house. I'll call Mrs. Kowalski, I can explain. Marcus. I kept my voice level. I learned a long time ago that control of your voice is control of a conversation. I've already filed a report with Child Protective Services. I've already spoken to my attorney. I want you to enjoy the rest of your trip because when you land in Boise, things are going to look very different from when you left. He started to say something else. I hung up. Renata called 4 minutes later. I let it go to voicemail. They cut the trip short by 4 days. I found out later from Marcus that it was Renata's idea. She wanted to get back and manage the situation. That phrase, manage the situation, as if Lily were a PR problem. I had Lily on my own for those 4 days. We drove back to my place in Boise, and she helped me water my tomato seedlings, and we watched 3 nature documentaries in a row on the couch with popcorn, and she slept in the guest room, where I still keep Dorothy's hand-stitched quilt on the bed. By the second morning, she was sleeping until 8 and eating real breakfasts and laughing at my bad jokes. That's when I knew how much she needed this. How long she must have been running on empty. Marcus and Renata arrived on a Wednesday. They came to my house. I had told Marcus to come here, not to go to the empty house, because I needed to look at him when we talked. Renata came in with a very practiced expression of concern. Dad, I want to explain about the arrangement. Sit down, I said. She blinked. I don't raise my voice, but I have a way of saying things that comes from 34 years of telling engineers what needs to happen and having them understand I'm not asking. Marcus sat. Renata sat. I don't want to hear about the arrangement, I said. I want to hear why my 9-year-old granddaughter was alone in a house with no electricity, a locked freezer she couldn't open by herself, and a peanut butter sandwich for provisions. The freezer wasn't locked, Renata said quickly. I have photos. Mrs. Kowalski has photos. She also has a written account of her observations, dated and signed. Renata looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at the table. The caseworker from Child Protective Services has been in contact, I continued. There will be a formal investigation. Both of you will be interviewed. Lily will be interviewed separately by someone trained to talk to children. You reported your own son, Renata said. There was an edge in her voice. I reported what happened to my granddaughter, I said. My son is an adult who made choices. Lily is a 9-year-old who had no choices. Marcus finally spoke. Dad, I know it looks bad. It doesn't look bad, Marcus. It is bad. Leaving a child alone for 14 days is abandonment under Idaho code. The power being off for 24 hours in a house with a minor is a health and safety violation. Your attorney will explain the rest. He'd gone pale. Renata was gripping her own hands in her lap. Here's what's going to happen now, I said. Lily stays with me while the investigation is open. You don't fight that. If you fight that, it will go worse for you, and my attorney has already advised me on this. You can't just take her, Renata started. The court can, I said, and they likely will given the circumstances, but I'd rather we keep this as civil as possible for Lily's sake, and for Owen's sake, because he doesn't need to watch his parents go through something he won't understand. That quieted her. The investigation took 11 weeks. A caseworker named Agent Pryl, a calm, precise woman with a notebook she never seemed to stop writing in, interviewed everyone, me, Marcus, Renata, Mrs. Kowalski, Lily's teacher, and Lily herself, twice in a child-appropriate setting with a specialist present. Lily told them, in her own words, that this wasn't the first time she'd felt like she was in the way. She described birthday dinners where she wasn't included in the photos. She described overhearing Renata tell Marcus she wasn't sure they should have done this, the adoption, after Owen was born. She described being told repeatedly that she needed to be grateful and that other kids had it worse. She was 9 years old. She said all of this calmly, like she had been thinking about it for a long time and was finally allowed to say it out loud. I sat in the parking lot of the Child Advocacy Center after her second interview and cried in my car. I'm 67 years old and I sat there for 20 minutes and let myself cry because Dorothy wasn't there to call, and because my son had somehow become someone I didn't recognize, and because Lily deserved so much better and had been getting so much less for so long. Then I dried my face, went to pick up Lily from the waiting room, and took her for ice cream. During those 11 weeks, Lily lived with me. She started at a new school temporarily. Her teacher was kind, a young man who clearly loved his job and immediately noticed Lily was bright and a little behind in math and started giving her optional extra worksheets that she actually did voluntarily, which told me everything. She joined a Saturday art class at the community center. She started talking more, not just answering questions, but offering things, observations, jokes, opinions. She told me one evening that she thought the moon looked annoyed that night because of the clouds covering it, and I wrote that down because I didn't want to forget it. She was blooming, right in front of me. Marcus called occasionally. Our conversations were short and careful. He was in counseling, the family court had recommended it, and to his credit he went. I didn't know how much was genuine reflection and how much was compliance, but I chose to believe he was trying because the alternative, that my son was not trying, was something I wasn't ready to accept. Renata and I didn't speak. The family court hearing was on a Tuesday morning in June. The courtroom was plain and fluorescent lit, the way those rooms always are. Nothing like what you see on TV. The judge was a middle-aged woman with reading glasses and no patience for anything that wasted her time. I liked her immediately. The CPS findings were entered into evidence. Mrs. Kowalski testified, clear and factual. Lily's advocate presented the child interview summaries. The power company records were there. My attorney presented the communication logs, the texts where Marcus had confirmed Lily would be fine with Mrs. Kowalski, where no such agreement existed. The judge read everything. She asked Marcus direct questions. He answered them quietly, and he didn't make excuses, which I give him credit for. He said, I made a serious error in judgment. I let my daughter down. I understand that. Renata said less. Her attorney spoke mostly for her. The judge awarded me temporary guardianship of Lily pending a longer review period. She ordered both Marcus and Renata to complete parenting classes and continued counseling. She put a formal safety plan in place for all contact with Lily. She also said something I've thought about many times since. A child is not made less of a child by the method of her arrival in a family. She is not a guest in that family. She is not provisional. She is a daughter, and she deserved to be treated like one. I kept my expression neutral because I was in a courtroom, but I felt it in my chest like something long held finally releasing. Outside on the courthouse steps, Lily was waiting with my neighbor's daughter, who had brought her from school. She looked at my face and said, "Did it go okay?" "It went okay," I said. She thought about this for a moment. "Am I staying with you for a while longer?" "For a good while, yes." She nodded slowly. Then she said, "Can we get a dog?" I laughed, the first real laugh I'd had in weeks. "Let's see about that. I've already picked out the name," she said. "Dorothy." I didn't trust myself to speak for a moment. I just put my arm around her shoulders and we walked to the car. That was 8 months ago. Lily is still with me. The review period has been extended twice, and honestly, I don't think either of us is in any hurry to change the arrangement. She has a real bedroom now. We went to IKEA on a Saturday, and she picked everything out herself, which took 4 hours because she considered every option with the seriousness of someone designing a space station, and I let her because she deserved to choose every single thing. She names the bookshelf. I don't know why. She named it Gerald. I didn't ask. We did get a dog, a 3-year-old beagle mix from the shelter named, by Lily, Dorothy, though she answers to Dot when she feels like it. Lily walks her every morning before school. She sets an alarm and everything. Nobody asked her to. She just decided it was her responsibility and she takes it seriously. Marcus and I are speaking more regularly now. It has been slow and careful and often difficult. He's in a different place than he was 8 months ago. I can hear it in how he talks, the way he catches himself, the way he started asking questions about Lily's week instead of just updating me on Owen. He has a long way to go. I'm not sure where things will land for him and Renata. That's not my business. My business is the girl who asked if we could name the dog after her grandmother. My business is the tomatoes she helped me stake in April and the Oregon Trail project she got a 94 on and the way she fell asleep on the couch last Sunday during the baseball game, Dot curled up against her legs, both of them completely at ease. I built bridges for 34 years. I knew how to find the point where something was about to break and reinforce it before it failed. I should have seen sooner what was happening to Lily. I've thought about that a lot. The Sunday dinners I attended, the photos I saw, the small moments I told myself were just family complexity. I was measuring the wrong stress points. I see them clearly now, and I'm not going anywhere. I've been thinking a lot lately about cause and effect, not in any grand philosophical way, just the plain practical way an engineer thinks about it. Every structure that fails for a reason, and the reason is almost never the final crack you can see. It's the accumulated stress that nobody measured applied quietly over a long period of time until one day something gives. What happened to Lily didn't start with a Hawaii trip. It started years earlier, in small decisions that seemed manageable on their own. A birthday gift chosen carelessly, an activity quietly not signed up for, a photograph where one child was always slightly outside the frame. Each one minor. Each one, by itself, easy to explain away. But stress doesn't disappear just because you stop looking at it. It builds. It finds the weakest point, and it waits. Marcus is a good man who made bad choices and told himself they were small ones. I understand that now, even if understanding it doesn't mean excusing it. The hardest thing about loving someone is watching them become someone you don't fully recognize and having to decide whether to hold them accountable or look the other way. I chose accountability. I hope that's what a father is supposed to do. Not protect his son from consequences, but trust that facing them is the only way through. And Lily. I think about who she was when she first came into that house 4 years ago. Quiet, careful, always reading the room before she let herself take up any space in it. I think about who she is now, naming a bookshelf Gerald and arguing with me about whether beagles are smarter than border collies and leaving her library books on the kitchen table because she knows I'll see them and ask about them and she wants to talk about them. That didn't happen because of any one moment. It happened because someone finally said, "You don't have to earn your place here. You already have one." That's what I want people to take from this, if they take anything. Not the drama of the courtroom or the drive through the night or even the moment Lily asked if we could name the dog after her grandmother. Those things matter, but they're not the point. The point is that a child reflects exactly what she's been given. Give her doubt, and she becomes doubtful. Give her a locked refrigerator and a dark house, and she learns that she is the kind of person those things happen to. Give her a beagle named Dot, and a bookshelf she named herself, and a grandfather who shows up at 5 in the morning, and she starts to believe, slowly, one ordinary day at a time, that she is worth showing up for. I can't undo the years I sat at Sunday dinners and told myself things were probably fine. That's mine to carry, and I carry it. But I'm 67 years old and I still have time to be useful, and right now, being useful means making sure that girl knows, without ever having to wonder, that there is someone in her corner who is not going anywhere. The tomatoes are coming up this spring. She already asked if she can be in charge of the watering schedule. I told her absolutely. She wrote it out on a note card and taped it to the refrigerator. That's everything right there.